Hello, dear internet. I have been concerned as of late by the relative lack of people explaining Akkadian and reading Akkadian texts on the internet, so I thought I'd remedy that by making a video of my own. As I'm a student of Assyriology and really like reading Akkadian, I figured you might enjoy hearing me talk about it as well. Today I would like to be reading a elegy in memory of a woman who died in childbirth. It's a short but sweet text, and I'll be showing you how to get to the text and how to work with materials online so you can read it yourself or read it along with me, however you want. So the first website I would like to show you today is ORAC, the Open Richly Annotated Cuneiform Corpus. The URL is posted here, so it's oracmuseum.upen.edu. And the text we're looking for you can find on the projects. Here is a large list of all the digitized projects that are contained in ORAC. So there's lots of interesting stuff here. We'll be looking at the State Archives of Assyria, Part 3. There it is. The Court Poetry and Literary Miscellanea. Then here on the left you have a number of links. We'll browse the SAA 3 corpus and we will go to number 15. Here is the text with the Akkadian on the middle panel, the translation in English on the right, and some perhaps boring, perhaps not so other interesting items. Of note is this page, the CDLI. This P number here is the CDLI number. The CDLI is the Cuneiform Digital Library Initiative, where there are a lot of digitized photocopies of cuneiform tablets. So the text we'll be reading today is, it looks like this. It's really cute. It has a break in one of the corners, so unfortunately the text is not completely preserved. We'll have to work with that, but it is relatively nice. It's Neo Assyrian, found in Nineveh. It's held in a British museum, and I don't think it has any glazing, so you can click on the photographs as well. You can look at it. Very nice there as well. Okay, so we'll leave that for later. So the ORAC is wonderful, as you really don't need a dictionary to use it. You can just hover your mouse over the words in transliteration from Akkadian, and you can't see me pointing at the screen, of course. That's unfortunate. Wait, I can click on this. I can click on it. Haha. Okay. So you can hover over it for a short analysis of the word, but you can also click on it for a bit more detail. So you can see what the written forms are, how it's normalized, so a bit how it will be pronounced, and the general meaning the word has, and more specific, of course. So Anna here means two, and the form is Anna. It has been written A-na, and it's normalized Anna. Mini is from minu, what, and together it means why, as you can also see in the translation here, which starts with why. In English it is parallel to what for, I suppose. So we'll continue. Anna mini ki elepe. So the Gishma, Gishma 2 actually, is a sumerogram that means boat. The gish is the material of the boat, so it's made of wood. The ma is the sign for a boat, so it's a wooden boat, and in Akkadian that's pronounced elepu in the nominative case, or elepe in the genitive that it has here after preposition ki. So anamini ki elepe ina, again a sumerogram. Here you see that kabaltu, the word on the left in the hovery thing, that's the standard Babylonian form of the word. That means middle. Whereas the word after the sort of dollar sign is kapsi. This is the Neo Assyrian form. This text is written in the Neo Assyrian period, and it has a couple of Neo Assyrian forms that diverge from the more standard poetic dialect that is Standard Babylonian. So you'll see a number of sound changes and grammatical variants from what you'll usually find in grammars. Right, speaking of grammars, if you want one, you can find them on the internet for free as well. I would recommend Unigard's, don't need an S there, Grammar of Akkadian. You can find it online for free as a PDF at his academia page. It also has an answer key that you can find there as well, I think. And as for dictionaries for words that you would like to find, I can never find the right here. If you go to AssyrianLanguages.org/Akkadian/search, you can search for words. So if you want to see boat, let's see, there it is, Elegy. So this website is fine. You can also buy a dictionary. There's the nice green ones from Black George and Postgate. Those are generally very cheap and quite reliable. I'll leave links. Those are, starting equipment for the impending Assyriologist. Alright, so let's start over for the fourth time now, I believe. Anamini ki elepe ina kapsi or kabaltu nare nadaki. So why are you like a boat in the middle of the river? Nadaki. This form is a stative with an Assyrian. It's already an Assyrian form. How exciting! It's the Assyrian ending of the second person singular feminine stative ending. Usually it looks different. I think the standard Babylonian form would be Nadati. I'll have to check. Yeah, Nadati. But here it's Nadaki, so that's nice. The stative is a very interesting form. It describes the state that people are in. So here we have the verb nadu, to be placed. But it means like you are placed because it's second person singular feminine. So why are you placed in the middle of the river like a boat? The translation here next to it is, why are you cast adrift like a boat in midstream? Which is, it's very nice. Shaburu huki ka batuku ashliki. Shaburu or shuburu is again a stative. It is third person masculine plural this time, so it's multiple things that are shuburu, broken. Hukiki is the crossbar. Ki is the second person singular feminine genitive suffix. It means your crossbar. Why are your crossbars broken? Batuku, again plural stative of cut off. Why are your ropes cut off? Again with the female stative here. Kalulu is again a stative, veiled. Paniki, your face. Why is your face veiled? It too is the river again. So the river of the inner city, meaning Assur. Why do you cross over the river of the inner city? Tebiri here, the te at the beginning is the prefix of the second person, the second person feminine singular, of the verb ebero, and it's in the present tense because it's happening at this time. You cannot see it, but the B would have been spoken long, so tebiri. The anamini of the first line is taken with the other line, the other half sentences as well. The translation here gives, why are you cast adrift like a boat in midstream? Your crossbars broken, your toes cut, your face veiled, you cross the river of the inner city. So it has this sort of sad tone, which is quite nice. Then we get a change of voice. Ake, how? La nadaku. Here we see the same verb, nadu, to be placed as with nadaki. But here we have nadaku, which is the first person singular. There's no masculine or feminine in this form. So why should I not be adrift? Why would I not be adrift? Why would I not be placed here? So it's a question from the first person, so it's the woman talking now. La batuku ashliya, the iya at the end of this ashlu or ashli is the first person genitive suffix. So why, how would my robes not be cut off? On the day, ashu ni, I bore fruit. This is a preterite. So the a is the prefix of the first person singular, and the ni indicates that it is a subjunctive, so it's a subordinate clause. That's it. Okay, so the verb to bear is nashu. Though you can't see the n because that has assimilated to the shin, the second radical, because in Akkadian most of the n's are quite volatile and tend to assimilate to whatever consonant is put next to them. Though not always, as you see here in Inbu. So the sentence is, on the day I bore fruit, so on the day I was giving birth, how happy, anaku, I, chadaka, is again a stative in a variant form of the first person singular of chadu, to be joyful or happy. So, and the anaku is extra. It didn't need to be there, but it places emphasis on how happy she was. It's I was so happy. Chadak anaku. So it's, again, I was happy. Chadi chabiri. Here is a stative in the third person masculine singular, and chabiri is my husband. So how happy was I? How happy was my husband? On the day of my labor pains, of my birthing pangs, itarpo pania. On the day of my birthing pangs, my face, pania, with the ya suffix of the first person genitive suffix again, itarpu. Irepu means to cloud over, or become dark. The ta infix here means it's a T perfect, or just a perfect depending on what method you follow. And it generally has the nuance of either something very close to you personally or something that is, big news that is not known to the one who is being spoken to, or just to highlight it. You'll see that in other texts as well, maybe even in this one. I don't know that right now, but here the emphasis is very much on the clouding of her face. So she was giving birth, but her eyes became dark, meaning of course that she died. In the day of my birth giving, uladia, itakrima inia. On the day of my giving birth, my eyes, with the numeral 2 inserted here to indicate that there's 2 eyes. On the day of my giving birth, my 2 eyes became hindered. Again, this one is actually an NT perfect. So here you see a double T. That is because the end stem, which is the passive verbal stem, the end that is indicative of the passive end stem is again assimilated to the T of the T perfect. The ma after it it's almost a wild card in this period. It can mean anything from and, it can mean and, or it can be just a particle indicating emphasis. So, because it's a passive verb, her eyes became hindered, clouded in the translation here. Patani upnaya. Upnaya is my cupped hand. like this, I suppose. And patani is again a stative, but of petu, meaning to open. So my hands were opened to Belet Ili, a goddess. Utsala, I prayed, or I beseeched. The open hands like this is a very common gesture of prayer in the ancient Near East. You'll see it in depictions of people before the gods or before kings a lot. On this cylinder seal from the British Museum, for example, you see here two deities. This one male, probably Adat, and this one female, standing before a king or a man who is holding like one or two of his hands up like this. That is what you have to be looking for. In other seals, you often have a figure like this. We call this the Lama goddess. She has her hands like this, and she is presenting another person to a higher deity. So this is Shamash, who encounters here this man who probably asked the Lama goddess, a protective goddess, to take him before Shamash so he can present his own case. It's like an introduction, and the Lama goddess often has this sort of a scene. Alright. So patani upnaya anabelet ili utsala. I opened my hands, or my hands were opened, and I prayed to Belet Ili. Umu Alidate, mother of birth giving, those who give birth. Ati, you. Eteri Napulti. Eteri is an imperative verb, so it means you must save, and it's a feminine imperative verb. Napulti is interesting because the dictionary entry you'll find for this verb or for this word is nabishti, meaning throat or life. This word is cognate to Arab nafs and Hebrew nefes, which both have meanings like breath or self. So it's very centered. The life and breath connotation is always very strong. It's not nabishti or napushti here because of a phonetic change that already started in the late 2nd millennium, in which words containing a sibilant and a dental, in this case a shin and a t next to each other, changed to become an L and a T. So napushti became napulti. Okay, but Ati eteri napulti, you must save my life. Belet ili, like or when. Tashmoni. Tashmoni is from shemu, to hear, and it's in the third person feminine singular with a subjunctive again. So it's a supporting clause. So when Belet ili heard, Tukalila panisha, she veiled her face. The sha here is the third person feminine singular genitive suffix. When Belet ili heard this, Tuktalila panisha, she veiled her face. Tuktalila is a D stem, so the L is doubled, and the D stem generally has a more intensified meaning of the normal G stem. And again, the tu is the prefix for the third person singular feminine. This is also an Assyrianism. The difference between this tu and the earlier, where is it, ta from Tashmoni, is that in the D stem and also in the shin stem, another stem, the vowel of the verbal prefix changes from an a or an e to an u in all cases. So in the D and shin stem, the third person masculine, which usually starts with an e, and the first person singular, which usually starts with an a, both are now are both an u in the D stem. So those can be a bit tricky to see. But here it's very clearly, because of the context, a third person singular. It could also be a second person, singular, male or female, but that wouldn't really make any sense also because Panisha is in the third person or has the third person singular genitive suffix. So she heard, but she veiled her face, so she doesn't really want to listen. Ati, you, Anamini, why? Tutsanalini. Why do you pray to me? Here we have the second person singular of Zulu to pray for, which we also had in Tsala. The Tutsanalini, the Ana here is because it's a DTN verbal form, which means that the L here is doubled. You can see this that it's a D stem because of the tu. As we said, if the vowel is an U, it's a D or shin stem. The regular form. Okay, so let's analyze this Tutsanalini for a bit. Okay, so the T is from the third person feminine singular. I'm going to 3 singular feminine. The U means that we can say it's in the D stem. Then we see the Tsade. Oh, I don't know what happened there, and it should be doubled. So I'm going to add one over here to Tsanalini. So there's one Tsade from the verb, which was Tsulu. Sorry about that. Tsulu and probably Tsulu. Okay, so the other one is actually a T, the Tana, that has the T assimilated to the Tsade, which happens a lot. I forgot to mention there that though the T does assimilate to the Tsade, it would actually have sounded like a doubled S. I believe we also saw this a bit before. I made a mistake here. I'm sorry. The TN stem means that it is a continuous action. Then double L comes from the Zulu again, so I'm just going to write that down again, and then the Ni is Ni. The Ni is to me. So the form means you. Okay, so it's okay. Sorry, I made a mistake there. It can be both a third person and a second person. Here it should be a second person because it's asking a question. We see that in the Hanamini. Why? Why do you keep praying to me? Muni here could be about the husband. It is one of the words for husband, but it's not quite clear. Itili is from Nadu with the first N assimilated to the T of the perfect. So he throws his voice. The shu is the third person masculine singular genitive suffix, and rikmu is voice. So he throws his voice. He cried out, "Ashat Lilaya, my charming wife." Here again, this is broken. This is the broken bit here in the corner. So I'm afraid this will go on for a while. My charming wife, Shadur, over the years. So for the permanence, the duration, if you will, of years. Kakar, Gibilate, the earth of wrongdoing, whatever that means. Here we have the Urusha Uru again, the inner city, meaning Asur. Talak is probably the second person masculine singular, so you go, Tasisi, you cry out, wailingly lamenting, or in lament. So you used to go, it can be a perfect, you used to go to Asur, you cried out in lament, in woe. So ume anote ishti chabiria anako, umesh day anote that, so that day Is he or is she with Gabiria, my husband, Anaku? So that day I was with my husband. Is he shu? Same word as this ta here. So with him, Ashbaku, I lived. Sharamania, with my lover. So I lived with him who was my lover. But death, mutu, ina e kinaya, into my bedroom. Ichlula from halalu, it creeped. Chilutu, sneakily. You can see that ichlula and chilutu come from the same verb, halalu. Then, ishtu or isu, from my house. Uset sanni, I was caused to go out. This is a shin stem. It's a shin stem. It's a shin stem perfect of atsu, to go out. So it's in the past, but a causative. And the shin of the shin stem, which is this first S here, is assimilated to the T of the perfect, and that gives a double S. It's very confusing, all that. Yashi just means myself. So from my house, I myself was caused to go out. So I was separated from my house. I was taken out of my house. From the face of my husband, Ibtarsani, I was cut off. So Isupan Gabiria Ibtarsani Yashi, I was cut off from the presence of my husband. And my 2 feet were placed. So this is Isakana G perfect. So the T has assimilated to the shin of Shakano. Inakakarla Tayartia, to the ground or region without return. Which is really sad, she died. For her. I hope this has been a bit informing and not all too boring or annoying. If you ever watched this video and would like to see me make another, if you have any requests, if you know of a cool text that you would like to see me do, or if you would like to see me do a particular genre, just ask. I don't suspect a lot of people will watch this, so the people that do can expect a personal comment back from me whenever I happen to see it. Goodbye, ini likla tapalach, and I hope you have a good day. I hope you are healthy. Bye!